Let's try this one standing up. What is up, Finn fans? I'm standing up. You can see how tall I am. I got the ceiling done. Everything's pretty much done. Here's my chair. I'll move it out of the way so you can see the stuff behind me. I got a new desk that allows me to stand up and film because it raises up. And I thought to myself, let's try this video, being that it's about Tua and it's probably going to be, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Let's try this one standing up. But first, I have to shout out today's sponsor, and that is Clean the World. I talk about Clean the World all the time. I talk about my buddy Sean Seipler and the things he does for so many people of need, whether it's third world countries, natural disasters, the homeless, people who need water. With this Wash Foundation's been doing it for 16 years, repurposing soap that nobody uses to give it to people of need. Go check it out, cleantheworld.org. And also check out his other one, the Wash Foundation. Shout out to him. So Mike Florio came out with this article. When was it? The 27th. I reposted it. I was going to talk about it, but obviously we had OTAs. And then yesterday, me and Reason did our show, and he brought it up, and I was like, damn, I was going to do a video on that, but let's talk about it. So he came out. I'm winded. I'm just standing here. He came out and he had this article. We're going to talk about it. It's very short. It's like about a paragraph, but the title of the article is, in 2025, the pressure will be on Tua Tagovailoa. And that's essentially why I named this video, Is It All On Tua in 2025? Kind of taking his words and twisting it. So this is what he said. On one level, there's no pressure on Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. He won via a second contract that fully guaranteed $93.71 million at signing. That's another $54 million in 2026 injury guarantee converted to fully guarantees earlier this year. That's $147.71 million that Tua will definitely make through 2026. But here's the question. Will he make it to 2026? They have to pay him, but they don't have to keep him. And if the 2025 season goes poorly, then the Dolphins quite possibly won't keep Coach McDaniel. Given the tendency of the teams that fire a head coach to hire a replacement who's the exact opposite from a personality standpoint, the next coach would be far closer to Brian Flores than McDaniel on the overall continuum of harassed, hard ass / nice guy. And the new coach will arrive believing that Tua is the problem, not the solution. And even if the new coach decides to keep Tua around for 2026, he clearly be in up or out season, given that as of 2026, only $3 million of his 2027 pay will be fully guaranteed. Basically, this is the year for Tua to secure his short and long-term future in Miami. If 2025 goes sideways, he may not have either, if he ends up with a parting gift of $54 million. So essentially what he's talking about is this it, right? Is this all on Tua? Is this on him? Because if the Dolphins, if everything goes belly up, he will essentially be gone, because they'll get rid of McDaniel. And then if they get rid of McDaniel, then that means that essentially the new coach that's coming in would be a complete opposite of McDaniel. And then that means that, they're not going to want to keep Tua because Tua is the problem, yada, yada. Here's my thoughts on the whole thing. First and foremost, I've showed this ad nauseum, but I'm going to show it to you one more time. This is Tua's contract, right? They technically, if they wanted to, can trade Tua after June 1st and save $25 million. They're not going to. They're not going to go into the season with Zach Wilson, who from these past 2 days of OTA haven't looked too great. And then you have viewers. But next year, say that this year, everything goes sideways and we suck. We don't make the playoffs. We win like 5 games, whatever. Tua gets hurt again. And I told you, I'll tell you again, when the season, I think that week before the season starts, I do my expectation video. So I'm going to do my Tua expectation, defense, offense expectation, why you should be optimistic for 2025, why you should be pessimistic for 2025. I have so many different videos that I have. But if things go sideways, Tua gets hurt, whatever, they can move on from him. Either a trade pre-June 1st, which would be $11.2 million, or they could do it post-June 1st, which is a $43 million savings. It probably leaned more towards the post-June 1st, draft somebody, do all that stuff. Or if they're like, screw it, we'll just move on. You know, essentially what the savings is they split up the dead cap. As you see here, the dead cap in 2026 is $45 million. Whereas if they do a post-June 1st, they split it up. So that's why it's more of a savings. It's $13 million. So there's that. So essentially what Mike Florio is talking about is this all on Tua. This is Tua's year. This is his make it or break it year. This is it. And I don't disagree. But is it all on Tua? Not necessarily, in my opinion. Obviously, this is a team sport. You know, Tua can have fantastic games and then, you know, things can go awry. Look at the Buffalo Bills game in Buffalo. Tua had a good game and ended up, you know, the Bills needed a 61-yard field goal to beat Miami. You look at other games where Tua's left the field with a lead, and unfortunately, you know, things happen, yada, yada. But if you want to come out and say that you deserve that money, then you kind of need to take that next step in being the player that gets that type of contract, right? Because you look at the players like Joe Burrow, who last season they were not great, but Joe Burrow was putting up ridiculous numbers. Josh Allen, everyone thought they were in a rebuild year last year. And look what they did. You know, they went to the championship game. It's because Josh Allen put the team on their back. Now, if you ask me, is Tua in the realm of these guys, of Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes? No, he's not. And not even because he can't stay healthy, but also, you know, he has inconsistencies in his game that tend to hurt the team down the stretch. So no, I don't put him in that realm. But do I think he's horrible? He's the worst, yada, yada? No. If I had to rank him fully healthy, I'd probably put him from 9 to 12, depending on where you have other things and your criteria. I have him like 9 to 12. Not healthy, and his injury history, I have him like 15 to 18, because being on the field and being reliable is a big part of it. But in Florio's article, he talks about they'll bring in a new coach that's going to, you know, be different than McDaniel. And he's going to be more like Flores and more hard-nosed and this and that. Let me set the record straight on something. And, you know, Omar Kelly came out and said it, and Alan Poupard agreed on it, and, you know, multiple sources came out and said this. You know, there's that talking narrative out there that Flores didn't want Tua. Tua was forced upon him. That's not how that works. That's not how the NFL works. That's not how the front office works. There's been multiple sources. Again, there has been multiple people who've come out and said it. Omar Kelly has said it, you know, verbatim from his own ears. He's heard it and everything. If Flores did not want Tua, the Dolphins wouldn't have drafted Tua. He wasn't gung-ho about it. He wasn't like, ooh, Tua's my guy. Let's go draft Tua. I need him at 5. But when there's the discussion and the vote, and this is our plan, and we'll take Tua here, and then this is what we'll do after Tua, yada, 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 Flores was like, cool, I'm aboard. Let's draft Tua. Now, obviously, if he had it his way and he had 100% of control, from what I heard, is he wanted Tristan Wirfs at 5. Then he wanted Jordan Love at 18. I wouldn't have been against that. You know how I feel about trenches. But this notion that Flores didn't want to draft Tua is false. It's been proven false time and time again. So we can lay that to bed. I know the people who won't lay it to bed, but it's false, 100% false. Tua had Nick Saban as a head coach. So to think that the new coach that's going to come in is going to be a hard nose and, you know, different than Mike McDaniel, and Tua's not going to want to be here, I disagree with that. What I do agree with is coaches' careers and coaches' success are always tied to their quarterback. So Brian Flores was tied to Tua. Mike McDaniels is tied to Tua. And that's because of the situation that the Dolphins put themselves in. in 2022. Now, I was upset about this. You can go back to 2022 and watch my video where I talked about it. I really didn't like the stigma and the stipulation that they put on that quarterback, that head coach search, where essentially they said, whoever wants to coach the Miami Dolphins, you have to take Poyer as your defensive coordinator, and you have to take Tua as your starting quarterback. That casted that head coaching search net so small. There was good candidates out there, but these veterans, these guys who've been to the Super Bowl before, these successful, potential head coaches want to have say and want to have control. So with the Miami Dolphins coming out and saying that, they really narrowed it down, and that's how we got Mike McDaniel. Now, I don't think Mike McDaniel's a bad head coach. I think he has things he needs to work on. I think he has things that he needs to improve on, but that's what you got, because you made that stipulation. Now, if it was just Tua, you probably would have got more options, but also throwing Boyer in there and saying you have to keep the defensive coordinator. Why? Like, it's just asinine to me. So I don't think McDaniel's a bad coach. I think he has things he needs to work on, but there's that. So again, to kind of go back to, because I went off on a little tangent on the title of the video, is 2025 all on Tua? Yes and no. I would say yes in the aspect that he has to stay healthy. He has to stay healthy, and him staying healthy helps the team, right? He has to get over the hurdle. These are things that I said in 2023 that I needed to see before giving him a contract. I need to see him stay healthy, and I need to see him get over that hurdle at the end of the year. He stayed healthy, he didn't get over the hurdle. They gave him the contract extension. I was like, you should have let him play on the fifth. Let him play on the 5th year, and then we're in a situation now where, you probably got him for cheaper. That was always my understanding, because he couldn't get past these certain hurdles. Same thing. So, is 2025 all on Tua? No, not necessarily. I would say a good portion of it is because of his health, and he has to stay on the field. But I think it also depends on the GM and the head coach, because the GM put this team together. And you look at the team that we have right now, right? Like, the offensive line's a little bit better, and I'll talk about all this stuff. There's still no depth. You look at the cornerback room, it's not good. Safeties I'm warming up to. Everything else is good, but there's still big glaring areas on this team. And I just don't know how I feel about it. So, it's not all on Tua, but a good portion of it is, because again, there's the play calling. There's the getting the team ready. There's injuries. There's a lot of variables that go into it. But the biggest thing, and again, you look at last year, if Tua didn't get hurt, this possibly was a 10-11 win team. He got hurt. And it's not like he got hurt because of a blown block, or he got hurt because he was playing reckless. And he thought, I slimmed down from 2023 so I can be more mobile. No, man. Go back to your 2023. Go back to your pocket presence and your pocket passing, and stop trying to be something you're not. Maybe you could turn the table, but to me personally, no, I don't think 2025 is all on Tua, but I'll say for the 400th time, I think a big portion of it is. I definitely do. But also, like I said, I think a big portion of it's on the team as well. Not the team as in the players, but the front office, because you look at, a lot of people say when I talk about that they didn't build the team properly, how many times do they have to add offensive linemen? You say that they didn't give to an offensive line. How many? Just because you add offensive linemen doesn't mean you did it right. Because I can go out there and I can add a ton of offensive linemen that aren't good, but hey, I tried. I added offensive linemen. They're not good. They were cheapos. They only cost us $4 or $5 million a year, but I tried something, and I know we have the Connor Williams and we have the Teron Armstead, and we drafted Hunt. But I love Teron Armstead. Never played full season. Connor Williams, that was a home run hit, but outside of that, it was like more focused on the weapons. And McDaniel came out and said that, you spend money on this guy, on that guy, and this instead of trenches. So, and the run game. You give Tua a good run game, I think he could be very successful. That's here nor there. So again, for the 4,000th time, big portion of 2025 is on Tua. I don't think it all is. I think there's other variables, but man, you got to stay healthy and he's got to get over that hump. Will he? That's a question I'll answer before the season starts when I give you my Tua expectation video. But comment below. Do you think 2025 is just on Tua, or do you think other variables come into play? Comment below. I will see you tomorrow with day 3 of OTAs. I'll probably be sitting down. I don't know. Maybe standing up. Comment below. Do you like this? Do you like my mobility? You like me standing up? Comment below, and I'll see you tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.